Well, thank you very much, Janet, for having me and to talk about your favourite hymn.
Pleasure.
Which is your favourite hymn?
It's Great is Thy Faithfulness.
Why do you like it so much?
So it's been with me for a long time. Basically, I first, I guess, became aware of it quite sadly. We sang it at my grandfather's funeral, and I was very close to my grandfather. So for many years it was quite a sad hymn, and particularly if I was with my mum in a church and we both had to sing, we'd be sobbing through the words.
I understand that.
And my granddad was a real, and both my grandparents are real people of God, and probably a lot of where my faith came from. So it was very powerful from that.
So do you think your grandfather had chosen that for his own funeral?
Yeah, I think it was one of his favourites.
Oh wow!
So it's being passed down.
Golly, that's yeah, I can understand that. There's a particular song that I have the same feelings for.
Right.
But no, that's...
But I can now just about get through it without welling up, so that's progress. But I guess over the years, then really thinking as you sing, thinking about what the words mean, it's come to take on more of not just an emotional meaning, but also spiritual.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at it the other day, and I was really enjoying, the meaning of the words. Perhaps maybe you'd like to tell us about some of the words that you've, and tell us what they are and what they're particularly, why they're so special.
Yeah, I mean, I think, one line I've always loved, but particularly at the moment I feel is really pertinent, is in the last verse when it says strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think particularly these times we're going through, I think a lot of us are feeling like we really need some strength, and are hopefully drawing on God for that strength, but also having that hope. So, particularly at the moment, actually, with this new round of lockdown and cases going up again, and then all the backdrop as well of where this has come from, and climate change, emergency, and Brexit, and and this deal recently, and all of the stuff that's going on in the background, it actually sometimes feels quite hard to have hope. And I was thinking this in Chris's prayers last week with the "You'll never walk alone," and walk on with hope in your heart. And so that's really hit me recently. Is actually we're going through this time, and it's just so important to still have hope for the future, even when it's hard. I always think. I often wonder how people without a faith can even get through some things, but we at least have that hope in God that things will work out and He will be here for us.
He is still overall, even though we can't see quite how.
Exactly.
He still has that hope for us for the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, it's so encouraging to be able to live in that hope, although it's not always easy. But
no, that's right. It's sometimes difficult to feel it and to actually and to get a grip on it.
Exactly. So this is a good reminder that we ask God as well for that hope and that strength.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I was thinking again before this, when you sent asked if I want to speak about it, sort of thinking what to say, and I actually so I read through this last night, and I've never noticed, but it's kind of in three different parts, almost three different aspects. So it starts off with looking at God and His nature. There's no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions they fail not, as that has been, thou forever wilt be. That constancy of God and unchanging, and He's there for us all the time. So that verse is looking at God. And then it seems to be the second verse is much more about the earth and creation, sun, moon and stars in their courses above, and really thinking about that. And then the third verse seems much more about us, so pardon for sin, peace, as I say, strength, hope. So it almost works at three different levels that, as I say, I've never particularly noticed before, but just when I was looking at it for this.
And that is just terrific, isn't it? Because we need
aspects.
You could almost have that as a sort of a pattern for a service. We praise God for who He is. And then we think about how we have seen evidence for Him in creation, and then actually how does He make a difference to us?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, how wonderful!
I know. I've noticed that.
There we go. Right. Well, that'll be your service next year, then, Janet. You can put that together for us.
No problem.
That'd be really good. Well, that's terrific. You've answered all my questions really beautifully without actually looking at them. So, I mean, I know you've got very strong memories from your grandfather's funeral. Can you sum up for us what feelings you have now when we sing this hymn together?
Yeah, sure. So, as I say, still fairly, there's times that it's still quite emotional from that memory, but it's now much more about, I mean, like it says in the title, God's faithfulness to us. And every morning, those mercies. So I really sort of personally think God is merciful to me, and then all I've needed thy hand hath provided is really, so true. Just that amazingness that God has that love for us and is looking out for us all the time. It's just
draws us.
Just think they're very powerful.
Yes.
Powerful words.
Thank you very much indeed. That's really lovely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.